Hello everyone. Today's topic is PostgreSQL upgrade and host migration on Ubuntu, a demonstration. Myself, Jobin Agustin, working as PostgreSQL escalation specialist for Percona. And as the title indicates, this will be more of a demonstration rather than any slide presentation. And we'll be discussing about how to upgrade to a completely new different host machine. It is a very common requirement to upgrade PostgreSQL version, which is running on an old hardware or old machine, to a new machine with a new PostgreSQL version and a new host operating system. How to achieve this? The simplest which we can do is to set up the new host machine as a standby to the existing one. Once the standby catches up with the existing production environment, we can plan for a cutover window. During the cutover window, we can have an upgrade after the promotion of the standby. We are going to see the demonstration, and before starting the demonstration, few important points. One is the default settings of old PostgreSQL versions are not so great for setting up a replication and doing a failover. So we will be altering those settings as part of this demonstration. And the second point is there are few Ubuntu specific utilities and we will be using them and we'll be discussing about some of the challenges. And third, we'll be using a database of size 2.6 GB, which is small compared to any production environment. But for the demonstration purpose, that will be sufficient. And the database name will be demo. And the default database, Postgres, will be empty. And another important point which we should keep in mind during this presentation is I'll be repeating the word cluster here and there, and some of the utilities also named like cluster. And in Postgres, cluster is synonymous with the instance. Instance means a Postgres installation running on a particular port to one data directory. That is one instance. And Postgres uses the cluster to indicate that it is a cluster of independent databases within. Okay? And don't get confused with the multi-node cluster, which is a different topic. This demonstration is how to upgrade an existing PostgreSQL to a new machine and new version. Okay. In my left side, I have Ubuntu 16.4 LTS with the PostgreSQL 9.6 running, and it has a database around 2.6 GB demo database. And in my right side, I have Ubuntu 20.4 LTS, and there is no PostgreSQL instance running. So that we want to migrate the database from this machine to this machine and upgrade that to latest version. So the first step is to install the same PostgreSQL version as the source database. So sudo apt install -y PostgreSQL 9.6. We have the 9.6 in the source system. Okay, and it will install from the repository. In case you don't have the repository already added, you may add it first. Okay, so your desired repository. It can be the community repository or Percona repository. Okay, the installation is completed. immediately after the installation, the Postgres instance will be running the LS clusters. It's running, and we will be able to connect to that. This is an independent instance, and we should be cleaning up this before we start the upgrade and migration process. So the first thing we should do is to shut down the Postgres on the destination, because that's just a seed instance, and clean up the data directory. We know this is the data directory. Okay, so in Ubuntu we can use PostgreSQL control cluster, and this is Ubuntu specific utility, and this is our cluster name. So just copy that, stop, and use the same. Okay. Now it should be down. Yes, the instance is down, and let us go to this directory. Okay, this is the data directory with all the seed instance information, and let us clean this up. Minus r of star. Okay, so that is cleaned up. After cleaning up the data directory, we should be setting up this new machine as a standby of the existing production. So that entire database will be copied over, and it will be catching up with all the latest changes happening in the production. Okay. In order to do that, the primary should be allowing basic parameter configuration for setting up it as a primary for replication. So let us do that first. So connect to PSQL, and let us do some basic parameter changes. Okay, let us do that. 1 second. Okay. First, we should have sufficient val retention. So alter system, set val keep segments. It can be even higher, and we should have sufficient val senders, and the val logging should be minimum replica, and we need to have a replication user. Okay, so in my case, there is already a replication user, and to get all these changes into effect, we should be restarting the Postgres. So either we can do it using PG LS clusters. It came up. Just 1 second. Okay, yeah, so these are the basic requirements for setting up a replication primary. In most of the production environments, all these steps would have been done already. So you don't have to even set these parameters and restart. It will be already existing. Okay. Probably. Please check before doing this. Another important thing for connecting the standby to the primary is to have the PGSBA rule. So let us do that. So first open the pgsba.conf, which will be present in the /etc, because this is Ubuntu. Okay, and go to the end, shift G. Okay, append here. Basically we need to say host replication, because let us use tab. Okay, replication, and the replication user is replicator for us, and the IP address, and the IP address of this node. Okay, IP. So this is the IP address, and subnet mask. We want connection only from this IP, and it should be password authenticated using MD5. Okay, save and quit, and reload this configuration. Signal the Postgres using pg reload conf. If we can edit the configuration file before the restart, that is even better. Okay, I just cleared the screen. So we cleaned up the data directory of the new standby machine. There is nothing. Okay, and now we should be able to take the backup of the primary to the new machine and set it up as standby. Okay, let us do that. So always preferable to give the full path of the binary, because we are taking the backup of Postgres 9.6 base backup, and the primary host name and the username and the data directory to which we should be restoring. And this access is stream the val files while taking the backup, and -r set up the replica configuration. If we are not using this R, it will be an independent database, and the backup should not wait for another checkpoint. So better do a fast checkpoint. Okay, so let us do this. It is asking for password. Once we key in the password, it will start the backup. Okay, in big databases, it may take some time. If we want to set the standby as a hot standby, we can edit the parameter, say vi postgres auto.conf, and we can just add a line hot underscore standby equal to on. Okay, and save and quit. Okay, now if we start the standby, say sudo pg ctl clusters start 9.6 main, it should be a hot standby, and we should be able to connect to that. And we can check the replication status on the primary. Okay, select start from pg stat replication. Okay, we can see that the standby is connected and it is streaming. Okay, and since this is a demonstration and we don't have any table on the primary, and same is the case in standby, we can just try creating a test table. In real production, you don't have to do this, just for a demonstrating. Create table t1 id int. Okay, we created a table in the primary. Now here in standby also it should appear. Now we know that the replications are happening from the primary to new standby, and we have all the databases and tables got replicated, say the 2.6 GB demo database is available here, and we can compare that with our primary. Yeah, so it's a database are one-to-one, and the replications are happening. If we want to upgrade this Postgres 9.6, we should have the binaries of new versions also in this machine. Okay, so let us try installing that. Okay, let me get the command. Second. Okay, so apt install PostgreSQL version. Okay, PostgreSQL, and we are planning to upgrade to Postgres 12. So this will install all the PostgreSQL binaries, and as we can see, it is even doing a post installation step of creating a database. So if we say pg ls clusters, we can see that in addition to our existing 9.6 cluster, we have a Postgres 12 cluster also created, which is running on a different port than the very next port. Okay. The steps so far can be done as a pre-migration, pre-upgrade step when the production system is running. Okay, before the cutover window. And when the cutover window starts, the cutover window of time starts, the first thing to do is to shut down the primary, because we don't want any more changes in the old primary, which won't be available to the new machine. Okay, so sudo pgctl cluster stop 9.6 main. So we shut down the old primary, and we made sure that we are not able to connect to the anything, and now processes are running. Okay, there is nothing running. So now we have a standby which don't have a primary. So the first thing we should do is to promote this. Okay, we can use the same pgctl cluster sudo pgctl cluster promote 9.6 main. Okay, and that should promote the cluster. Okay, select pg is in recovery. Sorry, pg, spelling mistake. Recovery. So it is no longer in recovery mode. That means it's an independent primary. Okay. Since we have an independent primary now, and the old Postgres is shut down, we don't need this window anymore. So let me close that. Okay, so and let me clean this window before starting. Okay, so now we have two clusters, say PG LS clusters. We have two clusters currently running on the new machine. The independent primary, which we created as a copy of the current primary, and the seed database which is created by Postgres itself. This is just an empty database. So now we can start attempting for upgrades. Okay, and for upgrade we will be using the PG upgrade utility. So let us use the PG upgrade. Okay, so we should be using the PG upgrade of the latest version, same PG upgrade of Postgres 12, and we need to specify the data directory of the old installation, old data directory, and new data directory, and old binary location, and the new binary location, and old parameter file, and the new parameter file. And before doing actual upgrade, better to do a check. This will verify all incompatibilities and report in advance. Okay, so check. So now it is complaining that the Postgres service is currently running, so we should be shutting down. Okay, so let us do that. Okay, sudo pptctl cluster stop 12 main. Okay, now we shut down the Postgres 12, and now we should be able to proceed to upgrade. Let us try with a check whether we will see any more issues. Okay, and it reported few issues. Okay, the result is failure. Okay, and it is asking us to check PG upgrade server log for probable cause of failures. Okay, when we inspect the PG upgrade server log, what we see. So first of all, the server log will be created on the directory where we are running the PG upgrade. When we inspect the server log, we may see some errors like this. Say could not access private key file, permission denied. So what the solution is, just log out from the session and log in again. So, and check the groups of the Postgres. Okay, so to get to access the SSL certificate, the Postgres account should be part of SSL cert group. So only this group can access these certificates. So that's the reason why it was giving us errors. This is one of the problem which we may encounter, and we may encounter this problem if you are continuing on the same terminal session which installed the Postgres, which created the user account. Okay. So after logging off and logging in, we could see that the Postgres user has access to the required group. So let us continue PG plus clusters, and we have Postgres 12 currently down. So let us execute the previous PG upgrade check once again. Okay, and now we are getting a different error. Okay, the collate of the database is not matching. So old one had this one and new one is different. So the collections are not matching. So we are not able to perform the upgrade. So we can't change the collation of an existing cluster. Okay, so or I mean existing database. So we should be actually removing this seed cluster and recreating that. So let us drop the cluster. Okay, pg drop cluster 12 main. Okay, and it is asking us to run sudo systemctl reload conf. Okay, we have done that as well. So let us check for PGLS clusters. So we are clear that the PostgreSQL cluster is removed. The seed cluster is gone. Okay, so now we can create a new cluster, and we need to have different character encoding as well as locale. So let us proceed to create that. pg create cluster Postgres version 12 main, and we can specify locale. So we can either specify locale or we can even specify collation rules explicitly. But locale can set the things, many things at a time. Okay. So let us specify the locale we need. It was en us utf8. Okay. Okay. So new cluster with UTF-8 encoding with the ENUS is created. Okay. Now let us check, run the check again. PG upgrade check. Yes, now we have a successful message saying that the clusters are compatible. So since the clusters are compatible, now let us proceed to run the actual upgrade. Okay, so without check, so same command without check. Okay, so proceeding. So that gives us the information. The previous cluster must be shut down. Please shut down the postmaster and try again. So we can proceed to shut down PGCPL clusters, stop 9.6 main. It is shut down. Now let us try to upgrade again. It is doing a check again, and it started performing the upgrade, and the upgrade is successful. Performing the upgrade complete. Okay, and after the upgrade, we should be doing two things. We should be analyzing the cluster completely, and we can delete the old cluster. Okay. Once the upgrade is complete, we should be able to start up PGCPL cluster start 12 main. Okay, so the new cluster is started up. Let us check. Yeah, it's running, and clusters. It is running on the 5433 port. So let us connect to that. PSQL minus P 5433. Okay, we are connected to new cluster. So let us check the databases inside. Yeah, we have all the databases and the size also pretty much same. Yeah, so this is the conclusion of upgrade. Now we can proceed to do the post upgrade procedures. So basically we need to run the analyze, okay, and delete old cluster. So both are shell commands. So let us check that. So if you say ls minus al, we'll see both the scripts here. So cat analyze, it is basically do a vacuum db command execution with analyze in, and the other one cat delete old clusters. It basically removes the data files from the old data directory. Okay, this we may not be need to do. If we want to clean up space, we can do this, otherwise we can leave it, but analyzing the database is important. Another important point which we need to remember is this one, pgls clusters. The new cluster is running on 5433. If we use this port, many of the applications may fail to connect. So we should be changing it back to 5432 again. Okay. So PSQL minus P 5432. Sorry, 33. Be connected, and we can issue our system set for 5432. Okay, we updated the configuration, and we can restart. So pgcpl clusters restart 12 main. Okay, if we check, it will be using the new port. Okay, now we can run the post installation script, analyze new cluster. That also completed. Now we can hand over the new cluster to the to the application and the users. Yeah, thank you. Hope you liked the demonstration. I have few more additional points to share with you. If the database size is really big, copying data from one data directory to another data directory by the PG upgrade may take some considerable time, and you may want to avoid that. Postgres upgrade, PG upgrade, provides an option to create hard link between the data directories. Basically, the files in the new data directory will be a just hard link to the original files. So to enable that, we can use the -k option, or we can say -- link option. So that indicates that we are going to use the hard link. One disadvantage of hard link option is that we cannot go back. The upgrade is one directional. If the data files are upgraded, the old data directory of the older version is no longer useful. But this is considerably fast. Even multi-terabyte databases can be upgraded in 1 or 2 minutes. That is the big advantage of the hard link option. And another important point is, say we demonstrated shutting down the primary because we were simulating the real production migration. But you may want to try multiple times before the actual migration. For none of those things, you don't need to do any kind of primary shutdown. The promotion of the standby can be done. So the moment we promote a standby, it will be independent primary. The old primary can continue working and serving the application connections. Okay, and the third point is something from the practical side. Generally, even though people are very comfortable with the migrations, there could be a lot of changes from environment to environment. So one important point which we didn't discuss in this demonstration is the complexity of extensions, so which may have additional complexity. So at least minimum 3 times trial runs are required, because this is something which I learned empirically. So with every trial run there will be a good amount of learning about the environment, specifically that environment. Even though we are comfortable with all the tools which we use, still there will be something special about the environment. So additional trial runs of migrations without actually affecting the primary is important. Okay, and finally I have something additional to share with you, some additional demonstration. Hi, here I want to share some extra supplementary information regarding upgrade. So in this machine, we have one Postgres cluster running, which is Postgres 9.6, and we want to upgrade it. And the good news is Ubuntu gives a utility called PG upgrade cluster, using which we can upgrade the Postgres version. And for running this, we just need to install the Postgres binaries as the latest version, or any of the version, and this utility is capable of understanding which is the latest version and do upgrade to the latest version available. So to upgrade this cluster, we just need to say 9.6 main cluster, and what is a data directory? Okay, where lib PostgreSQL say 12. So we are going to upgrade. Okay, the latest version of binary is Postgres 12. So its data directory will be 12 main. Okay, which currently doesn't exist. So and this utility by default will be taking a pg dump and pg restore, because that is the safest way to do a upgrade. But we have an option to specify the method which we want to use. If we want to run pg upgrade, we can just specify method -m upgrade. Okay, so it does everything which we have done so far for in the previous case. It automatically creates a new cluster and do the upgrade, and as we can see, it disables the old cluster and start the new cluster in the previous port, which is 54332. Okay, so if we connect, we'll be connecting to the Postgres 12 version, and PGLS clusters. Yeah, we quickly upgraded to Postgres 12. Okay, and if you are doing multiple rounds of PG upgrade runs, please consider using this utility also and test the upgrade. Even though it's not very popular doing this, because this is Ubuntu and Debian specific. Thank you for attending and watching my presentation. Hope you liked it, and you can ask any questions related to this topic.